So, Terence, it's great to have you on the show for the first time and talk about what Eldritch has currently got going on. You had a new album recently come out, which I think is very good, and talk about the current happenings in the band right now.
Well, the new album, we did it without really expecting to have success. That it's happening. I mean, it's selling really good. We just did it like we're doing it now, like as a hobby. We're not expecting to make money anymore because we're all getting pretty old. We're going to the 50. I'm 50, and Eugene, my partner in crime in this band since the beginning, he's 48, and we all have families and a lot of divorces and stuff like that going on. So we're just doing it for a hobby because we can't do it as a work anymore. So we did it with we just wrote the songs without thinking about nothing, without thinking about music business or anything else. We just wrote the songs and recorded them, and we have a good record deal, and that's how it happened. And it's really good. I think the album is one of our best albums. I mean, I don't know if you heard the whole thing, but it's very good. It's going very good too. So we're happy.
Now, one of the things that's great about Eldritch and about you guys that you stayed consistent. You've put out some really good records, over the course of your career, and really you've stayed pretty consistent as far as how good they are. Some albums are obviously better than others, but at the same time, you have really put out some pretty consistently good releases. And what has kept you guys that way with this band?
Well, we've always been focused on, in increasing our musicianship. We've always been practicing a lot, and all the musicians in the band now, I mean, these last 10 years at least, this lineup is like almost 10 years together, and we're all musicians that study music a lot and practice a lot. So everybody in the band is able to play even something much more difficult than what we're doing. So that's why our records are pretty good, even though maybe sometimes some songs are not so high quality. But the way we play the songs is really highly professional, and it's really good. So whatever we do is good because we practice a lot and we studied a lot. So we're it's like we're professional in every single note we put down. Nothing is like we don't do nothing that when we're drunk or everything is studied very good. So that's why our albums are all quite good. At least the way the way we play and everything.
So let's talk a bit about some of the songs you have on the new record. What did you write some of these tracks about, and maybe talk about some of the lyrics behind many of the songs on the new album?
Well, these this last year and a half, I've been building this. This kind of dream, that I had this restaurant in my mind. It was my father's idea because when we moved from Brooklyn to Italy, and he wanted to open a restaurant, but then unfortunately he got sick. He had a brain tumor and he died very young. So I couldn't bring this thing on, and because I was a musician then, I became a musician. So now that I'm getting pretty old, I said I got to do this. It was my father's dream, and it was my dream because I always liked cooking. So, and this bring me to not sleep. So because I have too many things to think about, worries and stuff like that, especially for the money. Have a big, huge mortgage for this thing because it's been like a $500,000 thing, investment. So I took all my savings, plus I got a big mortgage to do this. And I said, I got to write something about the non-sleeping thing, because I don't sleep. I never go, I don't sleep because I'm nervous, I'm anxious, I don't know. So I said, I'm going to write something about that. So that's how it came out. I talked to Eugene. He put down the music. I said, hey, man, I'm not sleeping since these last year and a half. So
right.
He said, okay, I'll take care about the music atmosphere.
Right.
We did it.
Now, I spent 23 years in the restaurant business. I was doing what you're doing right now, and I didn't sleep. The thing that's funny too is that even when I got home late at night, I was just so wired that I just couldn't fall asleep even if I wanted to.
Yeah, it's right. I can't sleep. It's okay. I feel good anyway, but I can't sleep. I go to sleep I go to bed like around 2:30 in the night, and I wake up at 7. But I wake up so many times during the night, I probably can't sleep more than an hour and a half, in a row. So, but it's okay. I feel good. Everything is going. It's okay.
The album El Nino was a big album for me because when my show first started out, Bleed Mask Bleed was actually the song that really was on my first playlist. So, why don't you talk a little bit about that album, because that was really the album that put you on the map, and talk about that song and, of course, that record itself.
Yeah, well, that was the most successful album we ever did, because it's still selling. It's been reprinted and it's still selling, and everybody talks about that. All the music promoters say, "Oh, you guys gonna play some El Nino song?" They say, "Yeah, okay." So I don't know. It just came out naturally, but as we never really sat down at around the table to discuss what to do. We just what we feel, we do it. So and we were in a position that time that we were professional musicians, so everything was we were young and everything was quite cool. So we were just focused on writing good songs, and I don't know, it was really something like magic. It came out really good, and after 20 years exactly, it's almost 20 years now. In a few months, it's going to be a 20-year-old album, and it's still it sounds like we recorded it just now. I don't know if you agree with that.
I do.
Yeah, it sounds modern. It was like maybe a little bit beyond in those days, because it sounds okay even today. So I don't know. It's something that was just natural magic. I don't know. It just came out.
The song Bleed Mask Bleed obviously was very big for me as well. And talk about the significance of that song and what it was about.
It was about a guy that just got a rifle and put the rifle to his face and just pulled the trigger.
Right.
When you're sick about everything and you say, I don't know, I gotta end up everything. So I know I got a good life, because I'm in a good. It would be wrong. It would be a lie if I say that I'm in a bad position. But sometimes I really felt, and sometimes I still feel like, just finishing everything, because sometimes I'm so tired that, just want to pull the trigger, So that's what the song talks about. It was about a guy that just shot himself. Nothing. It's really quite simple, even if it's, we try to write it in a more progressive way, but it's a simple story, So it's about when you want to finish, you want to end up something and just pull the trigger. And that song is really good. We're trying to organize a 20th anniversary show in New York. In October. I'm working with a few people now to see if we can put this up. And of course, everybody's asking, we're gonna let you play in New York, but you got to play that song. So we're gonna play that song for sure.
Right. Now, you guys started out in the early '90s, the mid '90s, and that is when metal really kind of was kind of going underground a little bit. And was it difficult for you, a progressive heavy metal band, was it difficult for you being the kind of band that you were first starting out? Was it really hard to get exposure? And was it hard for you as a band starting out back then?
Well, we started in 1991 as a band with that kind of music, because me and Eugene started even a few years earlier with another band, but it was a different style of music. But Eldritch started in 1991, and to be honest, we didn't really think about music business. We were just writing some songs and say, I don't know what's going on. We'll just write some songs and send some tapes out to some record companies. And that's how it happened. And it was really, those days were quite, maybe easier for some kind of reason to come out, if you were a good band, because there was no internet. So if you were a good band, and there were just a few good bands around the world, so if you were really good, you could do something. So we were lucky that we sent just a few tapes around, and it happened. We have some interest from Roadrunner Records, from EMI America, from a few companies, just 4 or 5 companies, and we signed for the management first, and for Lim, the Lim Music Products. It was the guy he discovered Halloween, and everything started from there. We were quite, I don't know, surprised. It was difficult, but for us it wasn't so difficult because we released a good demo, and it was quite easy to sign a record contract. So we were quite lucky.
Now, obviously, you've been doing this for a very, very long time, and what's kept you doing this for so long, and really kept you going musically?
Well, I think it's the passion and the love for music. I mean, we can't stay without it. I mean, you know how many times we were discussing about just quitting everything, but we never did it because we're not able to stop playing and writing songs because we all had some problems in our lives. First my father's death, then Eugene's mother's death, then all divorces and stuff, kids around the world. We got kids with a few different women. It's been a big mess, but we never really able to stop writing songs. Even if we take a break sometimes because we're quite sick about music business, we end up like sending a message or text or something saying, "Hey, what about writing something?" So we're not able to stop. I don't know. Maybe one day we're finished. I don't know, but we're still in love with what we're doing. So we're just doing it for love, for passion.
A lot of bands, as they get older, they really have started to write really good records. And, the older that you've gotten, my question for you, Terence, is that has it become easier for you to write a record?
Yeah. Now it's for us. It's like we're having fun. No stress. There's nothing difficult for us. Anyway, I mean, Eugene, my guitar player, he's got his own studio, so we record like 90% of the albums at his house in the studio. So it's quite, it's like for fun. And we don't even think about what we're doing, if it's good or not. We just write what we want, and it's quite fun and easy for us. I don't know. So it's not really a stress for us, So, but I know the times are really bad for music business. I met so many musicians in these last like 20 years and stuff like that. Everybody is quite depressed because first they had a good sales and now they have no sales, and but we don't care about that, because everybody has his own, family or side job or whatever. So we're not really stressed about the results. We just care about writing songs. So maybe that makes everything easier,
Like many European bands over here in the States, it's always been difficult to get a fan base. And, do you struggle finding a fan base in the U.S., and do you have a lot of fans over here? And maybe talk a bit about, the fan base of Eldritch over here in the United States.
Well, we got a few thousands of fans in the U.S., but of course we're not a big band, So, but the ones we got, they're real fans, So, like as you said before, listening to us since the first album, and still writing to me. We're in touch through Facebook, through whatever, and it's okay for us. I mean, we have a few thousand, so we can probably play some shows. We already played some shows in the States, but we're pretty happy about what we did. Of course, we didn't reach the goals of other bands, but we're happy at what we did. So we have like, I don't know, maybe I think a couple of thousand or maybe even more of American real fans. That they buy every single album we do, either it's better or not. So it's quite, nice, It's like a big family. We got like a couple of thousand American, relatives, That's what we think about it.
Now, let's talk about, the diversity of the band, because I'll tell you what, you guys have never put out the same album twice, and is that something you set out to do, or you just write an album and go with it, and that's just basically how it goes?
No, it's quite funny because it's natural. It comes out like that. I mean, we never, as I said, we never really sit down and think about what to do. We just do it. Maybe it's in our minds that we want to change, but we don't really mean to change. It's just that it happens. So we're quite lucky, and sometimes it's not a good thing, because after El Nino, I mean that the fourth album, Reverse, sold really a lot, even more than El Nino, but it sold to a complete new audience, and none of our old fans really liked that album because it was too aggressive and too thrashy and maybe too modern. But we didn't really think about that. We just wrote the songs. I mean, I was in a bad period of my life. I had to face some bad things, and maybe that's why the album was quite aggressive. But I mean, it was quite natural. We don't really sit at a table, so I don't know why. And we're pretty lucky because after 11 studio albums, and we never did an album that's quite the same as the previous one. So I think it's a good point.
And an album that was really cool, in my opinion, was Reverse. And a song I really loved off of that was the song Biotrinity.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's really good. It's quite, thrashy, but it's still melodic. My voice, even though I can do some growling things, but my voice is always quite melodic. My voice never really changed a lot since the first album to the last album. So that's the thing that keeps our sound quite, you can recognize that we're Eldritch because of my voice. Because even if the album is the music is quite aggressive, the voice is not so aggressive. So it's a good point. I like that album. Reverse is a great album. So I think I love all the albums. The albums are like if they were like children, for me. So
right.
I love them. I love every album I did.
It actually surprises me that Reverse sold as many records as you said it did, because it's such a different album that it's one of those things that I would not have expected that.
Well, it was. Of course, it was totally different than El Nino, and it's probably totally different than all the rest. I don't know why it sold. Maybe it sold because El Nino sold a lot, and the people just went to buy it, and without even thinking about what it sounded like, maybe because we had a lot of bad critics about that album. But we played a lot of festivals, and we played a lot of good shows, and we sold a lot. We got a lot of money out of that. I finished my mansion with that album. I did my swimming pool with that album. I know people didn't like it a lot, but just I don't know, but it sold, so it's okay. But who knows? Maybe one day we're gonna do another album that sounds like that. I don't know. It's just that it came out that way.
Now, over the last 20 years, you guys have really put out some great records, and maybe what are some of the things that you can talk about that you're the most proud of, with the band over the last 20 years?
Well, we played at some good festivals, let's say like the Sweden Rock Festival in Sweden, there were like 70,000 people there. And it was awesome. We also met a lot of famous musicians, idols. And one of the nice things that I still remember was talking with Jeff Waters of Annihilator, and we gave him that Reverse album, and he sent us an email like a month later saying, hey, I received 400 CDs during the European tour, but your record is the only one I really love and listen to. And he sent us an email, and then he sent us a couple of pictures that he was in the studio with the album right there, on top of the mixer board. So that's one of the things that we really appreciate, because he's we always listen to Annihilator, and we also Face Warning, and we talked with them. We did a song together with Face Warning too. So it's those were the highlights. Adding to that, some great shows like Three Gods of Metal in Italy, some big fests around the world. We were headliners at Chicago Power Fest in 2006. So those were the highlights of the band, and we could have done more, obviously, but we're happy with what we did, because we know our music is not mainstream. We never really jumped on any kind of train or trend or whatever we just did what we really like to do, and it's not so commercial. It's not easy to sell our music, and it's okay. We're happy. We could have done more, of course, but we're happy about what we did.
So do you guys have any touring plans coming up at all?
Well, we're gonna be headliners at the Prague Italian Fest in a month. It's June 24th in Bologna in Italy, and then we're gonna play Milano a couple of months later. And it's a big fest with I think with Hammerfall, Gravedigger, and stuff like that. And then we're trying to work on this New York show, maybe in Brooklyn at the St. Peter's Club, or with we want to celebrate the 20th anniversary of So we're trying to do that. We won't play a lot of shows because it's my fault because I opened this restaurant and I did this big $500,000 investment thing, and I told the record company I need a couple of years to establish everything and teach the people that work for me how to carry the thing on, so I can't really do tours for a couple of years, so maybe we're going to tour more in a couple of years, but now we're just going to play just a few shows, but really good. So either headliners or big fest as openers or whatever, and maybe this New York thing, if possible. I think there's like the 70 or 80% of chance we can do this thing in New York in let's say around between the 20th and then the 25th of October. We're working on that.
Well, Terence, I got to tell you, it was great to have you on the show. And for my last question, any last words for the fans that are going to be checking out this interview?
Well, guys, just give us a chance, because Eldritch is not a band that probably a lot of people talk about, but our music is really something really fresh you can listen at, and it's quite modern, but it's like still old, good heavy metal, so it's quite progressive, and it's sometimes aggressive, and sometimes it's just hard rock. We're Eldritch, so just give us a chance. We don't want to say any false things to the people. Just listen to us, check us out, and you can see that we're a band that deserves to be to be even a little bit bigger than what we are.